All right, guys. So because of the end of the year, we all know there's going to be a whole bunch of awards for people who were important during the year of 2022 and their impact. And one of the most notable kind of awards or, lists or, recognitions is the Times Person of the Year. And they have released their short list of individuals that, could be the person of the year, and Ron DeSantis is on the list, and MSNBC is not happy about that. In fact, Mika Brzezinski is going to openly fume about Ron DeSantis being on Time's Person of the Year list. Take a look.
2022 winds down. We are beginning to reflect on the year that was. That includes the highly anticipated revealing of Time's annual Person of the Year. Last year, it was Tesla CEO Elon Musk, who now looks to join former President Richard Nixon as the only person to win the award in consecutive years. Joining us now to reveal the rest of the Person of the Year finalists, executive editor of Time, Ben Goldberger. And we've been giving Ben trouble here because we think some of them are placeholders. I don't see some of these, but let's go over the short list, Ben. Okay, go ahead, John Hammond, you take it. Take the first question for Ben. But I think some of them are placeholders.
Ben, would you like to...
explain.
Just explain to us the nature of the short list.
Yes, that's good.
What is the short list? What is the short list?
Okay, I'm going to read the short list. Hold on. This makes sense. Xi Jinping. This makes sense. The U.S. Supreme Court. This could make sense. Elon Musk. Liz Cheney. Volodymyr Zelensky. Makes sense. Mackenzie Scott. Yeah. Protesters in Iran. Makes sense. Ron DeSantis makes no sense to me. Gun safety advocates.
In any, not just on this list.
By the way,
in general.
By the way, that was a blanket statement. No, but this is the most.
How about Janet Yellen? She makes sense to you?
No.
No, right.
No, although amazing.
List. I mean, yes, no diss to Janet Yellen, but
should we let Ben talk? I don't know. Yeah. We could just talk about him.
It's fun to just sit here and listen.
No, listen. So who's really the short list here?
This is the short list. I mean, as we sit down to be in the process of Person of the Year, we start really as summer gives way to fall. We have a huge staff-wide meeting, and the goal is to take stock of influence in all of its forms across all different types of newsmakers, of
negative
impact.
Or positive.
Well, I'm glad you said that earlier to your setup. I think it's often forgotten that Person of the Year is meant to be a recognition of influence, whether for good or for ill. Influence is not inherently positive, and it isn't an award, despite it being taken that way by a certain former president.
Why not Putin on the short list?
That's a really good question. I think, despite what you were just saying, Jonathan, about Putin's incursion into Crimea, if anything, this invasion has exposed his relative lack of influence. He may be one of the world's primary aggressors, but his influence has only diminished. They were supposed to have captured Kyiv in, 3 days, according to U.S. intelligence? We're now nearly a year in, and he is less popular at home than he has been in many years.
Let's take the other side of that.
Short list, 10 entries. It's not very short.
That's not a short list. There's some placeholders there.
That's not a long list. There's a lot of
consequential people.
There's a lot of
in the world. Explain Ron DeSantis.
There's a lot of constituent service going on there. Ron DeSantis. She was make him explain Ron DeSantis.
I can't.
I don't. She doesn't mean. I don't mean existentially.
Right.
I mean explain his presence on this list.
That would be good too.
No, I can't do the Dow of DeSantis, but his presence on the list is because he won re-election in a massive landslide. He flipped Miami-Dade, and much to the chagrin of a prominent former constituent, is on the cusp of really being the front runner for the Republican nomination.
So Zelensky is on the cusp of winning the largest land war in Europe against a country 10 times its size. Mm-hmm. That's the victory that he has in his sights. Ron DeSantis won Miami-Dade County, so those are kind of like the parallel. In terms of influence, those are the kind of things we're really talking about.
Yeah, so there's a whole lot to kind of break down here, okay? And it might be confusing because this conversation was confusing and all over the place and all types of contradictions because, again, we really don't know. Is this list supposed to be about global influence or is it supposed to be about, I guess, I don't know, is it domestic? I'm not entirely sure. Right? Because the argument they used against Ron DeSantis was that, well, he just has influence in his state. And I mean, he's the most influential governor in the country. Okay. But because, it's not a global influence, then, we don't know why he should be on the list or whatever. Right? We're comparing people with global influence to people who have just domestic influence. And if that's the case, then why the hell is Liz Cheney on the list? Right? Like, Liz Cheney shouldn't be up there either. Okay. But we're going to get back to that, right? I first want to say this about the whole Putin thing. I don't understand, how can you put Vladimir Zelensky on the list but not Putin? Because, I mean, to me, from a global influence perspective, the Democrats blame everything on Putin, right? Energy prices, gas prices, right? Everything, all of the world's problems is Putin. Allegedly, they're scared to death of him buying Facebook ads to potentially swing the outcome of U.S. elections, right? The Democrats are scared to death over that, apparently, right? Allegedly. So again, obviously, this list doesn't necessarily care about whether it's positive or negative. They just care about overall influence, which is why Xi Jinping is on the list, right? A dictator who literally is oppressing their citizens as we speak, okay, with these COVID lockdowns. He can be on the list, but Putin can't, presumably because he started the war in Ukraine. Again, that's the only reason why he wouldn't be on the list, because his influence is clearly, he's clearly just as influential, if not more influential than Vladimir Zelensky. Again, Vladimir Zelensky's influence for me is basically taking money out of my pocket. I mean, this guy, again, he's a dependent on every American citizen's tax returns. I mean, at this point, okay? Ukraine is a dependent state. That is the most influence that guy has had on me, okay? So again, I don't necessarily mind him being on the list, but if you're going to throw him on the list, if you're going to throw Xi Jinping on the list, you got to put Putin on the list. It seems like Putin's not on the list. Literally, it's just a protest or FU to him, a cancellation of him simply because of the war in Ukraine, which to me is a clear contradiction when you have Xi Jinping on the list and the fact that he is basically about to try to invade Taiwan. He hasn't done it yet, but again, we can have a situation like that on our hands. He's oppressing his citizens. Clearly not a good guy, right? Putin's not a good guy either. The war in Ukraine, him starting that was bad, okay? So again, if we're canceling dictators because they did bad stuff, if Putin's not going to be on the list, then Xi Jinping shouldn't be on the list either. I'm just saying, where's the consistency here? But hey, I'm not surprised because all these people are in bed with China, okay? So I'm saying, like, there's all types of contradictions going on here. Right? But what Mika Brzezinski is frustrated over, she's clearly upset, she's clearly triggered and butthurt, is that Ron DeSantis is on the list. And I'm like, okay, you do realize that Ron DeSantis is the most influential governor in this country, right? Like, all the Republican governors are following Ron DeSantis' lead. At some point, I actually think that legislation in Congress will start to follow Ron DeSantis' lead, because the guy has been that good of a leader for the Republican Party, right? That's just a fact, okay? I mean, he is driving the Republican Party from an ideological perspective, and that is what is happening. And in my opinion, he has much more influence over the Republican Party than Liz Cheney. So how the hell can it make sense for Liz Cheney to be on the list, but not Ron DeSantis? Liz Cheney is on the way out. She got voted out. The January 6th commission was an absolute disaster. People didn't watch it. People didn't pay attention to it. It swung nobody's opinions. Everybody who hated Trump before then still hates him. People that liked Trump before then still likes him. Like, it changed nothing. It was an absolute failure, and she got blown out in a landslide loss in her own state, in Wyoming. So again, I'm trying to figure out, why does it make sense for Liz Cheney to be on the list, but not Ron DeSantis? Liz Cheney is on the way out. She's not influential even in the Republican Party compared to Ron DeSantis, and damn sure not that influential in the country, right? She's literally on the list because she earned brownie points for being anti-Trump, for being an anti-Trump Republican. You see what's going on here, guys? This is the type of stuff that mainstream liberal media does that annoys me. They give brownie points to things that you should not gain points for. You shouldn't get points simply because you're anti-Trump Republican. Because she was an absolute failure at swaying anybody's opinion on the former president of the United States. So that in and of itself, again, she shouldn't get points for being an anti-Trump Republican. And also, again, she failed at actually swaying people's opinions. So why is she on the list? She has no influence. Her influence pales in comparison to Ron DeSantis. So I don't understand why she's on the list at all. She's the one person on the list that makes the least sense to me out of everybody on the list, right? Again, I'm just saying, I find it funny how she said Elon Musk could make sense. No, Elon Musk, actually, out of everybody on the list, in my opinion, is the clear front runner, right? He's the clear winner because he's not an evil dictator, right? He's not Xi Jinping or Putin. The guy clearly has global influence as well as domestic influence. I mean, he's probably the most important person in the United States right now, okay? Everybody is talking about Elon Musk because of his purchase of Twitter and his influence on politics and the free speech debate. Again, the guy is single-handedly probably the most influential person in the country right now, okay? Also, you can't forget, again, from a international perspective, he's providing Starlink to Ukraine, okay? He is literally their communications infrastructure. He's also engaging in electromagnetic warfare with Russia. He's literally an enemy of Putin. The guy is providing internet to the world, not even just Ukraine, but he's trying to provide internet to the world. You have SpaceX. I mean, clearly he is the Times 2022 person of the year. He should be, if this was an objective thing. Okay, I'm just saying the guy has truly had a global influence on almost everybody. Okay, but you know, he's gonna lose points, right? Because you know they say he's pro-Trump now, right? He's pro-Republican, so now he's gonna lose points when he clearly should be the winner. Again, I just find it funny how that works, right? These people, again, they're so insane. Let me know what you guys think. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Most importantly, share a Black conservative perspective. Peace.